If you come at the king, you best not miss.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this contest and new
Acknowledge us.
Hey, guys. We're here at the Red Carpet Ring. We'll talk about WWE SmackDown LA Knight wins United States title and thrilling main event. Get the likes as we come into the ring. We're going to talk about it. Then we're going to talk about this episode of SmackDown from March 7th. Definitely a lot to talk about here. You guys get the likes as we come into the ring. And also, we'll talk about, we got a current news. We got the bonus round here. Why Roman Reigns is set to be the number one babyface in WWE and other more. There's a lot to talk about here. We'll cover SmackDown, go over rating as usual. Well, let's look over this match card that we see already. We got Cody Rhodes speaking, Jade Cargill, Randy Orton speaking. We have 4 matches here. 2 United States titles match, men's and women's. Men's main eventing. Street fight for the women's United States title, Braun Strowman solo 1-on-1, and Drew McIntyre and Jimmy Big Jim Uso 1-on-1. Well, let's talk about it. Well, the opening segment of the show, guys, was Randy Orton. Randy Orton kicks off SmackDown. Now he talks about how, he's been for a long time. He don't have many friends. He referenced John Cena. He mentioned Cena, and then he mentioned how he announced his heel turn, saying that he's really hit rock bottom. Took insult to John Cena and The Rock, but he talked about that for a brief second. Then he went on to Kevin Owens. He said Kevin Owens is he gave him his credit, one of the best ever to do it. He also said Kevin Owens is similar to his character. They're willing to do anything to get the job done. And he said that Kevin Owens won also very few that you're not anymore. And he referenced saying that he was going to hear voices in his head, and he was going to, similar to him closely punting Kevin Owens after his match at Elimination Chamber in a street fight with Sami Zayn. However, that was broken by officials, and Randy Orton basically saying in so many words that it's not over between him and Kevin Owens just yet. So, good way to kick off the show. Let's go to our first match of the night. First match of the night, we had Tiffany Stratton versus Piper Niven. This steamed up from backstage when Chelsea Green and Piper interrupted Nick Aldis and Tiffany. So this was a good little one-on-one these women had. It wasn't the best match on the card. It was okay. Piper did her great power and skill. Tiffany, it was a real quick match. Tiffany won with the prettiest moonsault. Then we had Charlotte Flair attack her afterwards. She came in, put the figure 8 leg lock on her, and then she was interviewed backstage by Brian Saxton. Charlotte Flair told Brian Byron that I told Tiffany she was coming to keep an eye on me. She said it's Tiffany's fault that she didn't focus on me. She said basically the queen is here. And then we saw also B-Fab approach Charlotte. And Charlotte told B-Fab, things you got to get used to the women's division. And B-Fab told Charlotte it's not like it used to be. No one does have to follow being bowed down. And then it was a match next week of Charlotte versus B-Fab. And Charlotte told B-Fab, you will learn how it is to bow down to the queen. So we'll see how that goes. That's the match announced for next week. The next match on the card we do have here, we have Pretty Deadly. Now, they won This was a number one contender for the tag team championships in triple threat. Now, Motor Machine City Guns, they did their thing. And of course, we also saw Los Garces also begin to shine lately. But in a surprising win, which was interesting, um, Pretty Deadly won the match in the number one contention for the tag team belts. So they will face off the winner between next week's match of finally Street Profits get their match against DIY for the tag team belts. And it makes sense why Pretty Deadly won. Motor City, Motor City Machine Guns already had their match. And also Los Garças is probably should be after Pretty Deadly because Pretty Deadly got beat for DIY too. And I like how Nick Aldis wrote down the tag team division, the whole storyline. He had the whiteboard backstage. He had his marker. He explained every scenario, and this was perfect. So this was good, very good match. And I actually, I'm not a fan of Pretty Deadly like that, but it makes sense why they won. But let's get on to the next part of the show, big part of the show. Remember, Bianca Belair wanted answers. She asked Naomi what's going on. Naomi said, she danced around the subject. Well, I want to make sure that, you know, she mentioned how her and Bianca, kept the tag team belts going and everything. Come to find out, like many people thought, it was Naomi all along. Bianca seemed very hurt. She says, answer that one question. Did you do it, yes or no? And Naomi said, I did it. I did it for you, Bianca. She said, I did it for you. I did it for us, the tag team. She said, I couldn't stand around to see how Naomi was saying how she couldn't stand around to see how Bianca carried the workload between her and Jade. That part she wasn't lying about. I'm with Naomi on that. Bianca was carrying Jade during the tag team run. And Naomi and Bianca were a better tag team compared to Bianca and Jade. I stated that before too. But I will say that, you know, this is why Jade came after Naomi. She knew it was her all along. She knew it was her the whole time. So she pulled she was said she did it for not herself, but she did it for Naomi. Best thing possible. Um, she said, she basically thought that Bianca was going to thank her for it. Bianca said, "Don't touch me, get away from me." She said, "This thing between me and you is done. It's done. She's done with it." You know, and Naomi did not like that. She didn't like that at all. Called her ungrateful. You know what? Get back here. Everything. Pretty much as many people suspected when you heard Naomi said she did it for Bianca. Yes, she pulled a Rikishi, her father-in-law. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. If you guys remember, this is Rikishi when they found out he had Stone Cold ran down. Why did he do it? He didn't do it for himself. He did it for The Rock. Back in 2000, same to Naomi, she did it for Bianca. And Bianca not like that. She walked out the ring. Next thing you know, we see Jay coming up in the truck. She pulled up, gave Naomi that work, hit her with the jaded. That was it. She did give that work though. Similar to Elimination. Not as bad as Elimination Chamber, but still gave that work nonetheless.
So whether you like it or not, you about to get that work, son.
So that was it. We'll talk more about the storyline, but yeah, that was the end of that story. However, we got Cody Rhodes. He came out talking about John Cena heel turn. We know that he said that he rolled with John, that John Cena used to give him pointers, all the advice he could. That John Cena turned on him. So Cody was not expecting that to happen. So we know that was going on. He basically pulled John Cena. He told John Cena, if you want some, come get some. Basically, Cody says he's ready to take on Cena, and this is for the awaited match at WrestleMania 41 for the WWE Championship. So, a little quick short promo. Next, we have Braun Strowman versus Mr. Solo. Solo Sikoa, they had one-on-one match. This match ended in a DQ. And we know that this match ended due to, of course, Tama Tonga interfering and Jacob Fatu interfering. He showed up. One of my most favorite match, but I get the story. They're teasing the whole Solo and Jacob story, and of course Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman story. I do like how Jacob and Braun attacked each other after the match. We saw that Jacob was giving it to Braun, and Braun chokeslammed Jacob on the outside by the outside in the crowd on the announce table. But the match itself, no. But afterwards, it was better. Let's go to the next match on the card. All right, we got ourselves the Women's United States Championship match. Michin challenging Chelsea Green in a street fight, and they are in Philadelphia. That's why Michin got the Philadelphia jersey on. I would have to say, out of all the matches that Michin and Chelsea Green had, this was the best one by far. Great finish. I like to eat defeat. Michin got on Chelsea on top of the table. It seemed like Michin had the win in the bag. Somebody pulled the referee out the ring. And next thing we know, B-Fab also came in. She tried to even score the best way she could to attack Piper, which was good. That's what led to that. Very surprising, but she she attacked Michin on top of some chairs. She rolled up Chelsea Green on top of Michin. And then next thing you know, we got ourselves a finish. Chelsea Green is still the Women's United States Champion, and Alba Fire is the one who came in, made her return. This is the first time we see her on national TV since since they released Isla Dawn, the tag team partner, and now she saluted Chelsea Green, and that's the end of that match. But great finish, unexpected return from Alba Fire. She's aligned herself with Chelsea Green, so I would like to see how they continue that story. Now, we also had another match before the main event. We had Drew McIntyre versus Jimmy Uso. Almost said Jay again. But also, this match is quick. This is literally Drew McIntyre got his win back against Jimmy Uso, who got a win against Drew by doing a roll up. Afterwards, Damian Priest, who was attacked earlier that day, he came back and got his lick back on Drew McIntyre, setting up for that WrestleMania match that many people have talked about. But nothing special in this match as far as that goes. Meanwhile, let's get to the main event of the show. We got Shinsuke Nakamura, United States Champion, defending his title against challenger LA Knight. I'm not gonna again a great match. Great match that these guys went in. These guys did their thing. I have nothing against this whole thing at all. Nothing against it. These guys put in work. Both men put in work. LA Knight doing the elbow off top of the rope. Very solid match. And it makes sense because Shinsuke, him and LA Knight LA Knight won the number one contendership last week. And I didn't think LA Knight would come all this way just to lose. Now Shinsuke had good offense early on the match. He had a good moves on him, hit the German suplex. I know one point the refs knocked out Shinsuke did his kicks on LA Knight, thought he had in the bag. Then LA Knight came back. After Shinsuke brought chair in the ring, was pulled by the refs. LA Knight hit the BFT on top of the chair in the ring. He was waiting for the referee to come in. And another referee came in while Charles Robinson, the original referee, was knocked out. 1, 2, 3, brand new United States champion. If you guys remember that part of the main event.
For the win! He did it! A megastar!
And that's it. Brand new champion, LA Knight. Yeah. So we got ourselves a new United States champion. LA Knight is now a 2-time United States champion. But yeah, this was very good way to close out the show. Pyro went off. And if you guys think about it, realize this week, this is the second show this week that we've been crowned champion. On Monday Night Raw, Io Sky won the Women's World Championship in the main event. On SmackDown, we had LA Knight regain the United States Championship in the main event. So 2 new champions in 1 week. Very good. And this pretty much sums up everything that happened on Friday Night SmackDown. Is there all the events one by one? If you guys want to take a look at that, that's everything you could think of that happened. But we got to talk about the rating. What I give the show. Show was good. I liked it. 4 out of 5. Some things I didn't agree with, but most of the stuff was good. This is the first SmackDown after Elimination Chamber. You know, we knew that Cody was going to acknowledge Cena. Randy Orton was going to acknowledge KO. We knew that we had another United States Championship match. We knew that Bianca Belair wanted an answer from Naomi. Her being attacked to Jade Cargill. But this was good, though. You guys let me know what you think. Of course, check out in the community post what to vote. What do you cast your vote for? How would you rate SmackDown? You can always do that. Meanwhile, let's move on to what went wrong with SmackDown. We got to go there. Let's see what happened with what went wrong with SmackDown, and then we'll go to what went right with SmackDown as well. But let's move on to what went wrong with SmackDown first. Now, what went wrong here that I was not a fan of, but we're going to talk, like I say, we're going to dive more into it. This whole storyline of Naomi, Bianca, who attacked Jade, I really thought WWE was going to, shift and go to someone who attacked Jade that we did not expect, not state the obvious. We all heard it was Naomi, Bianca, Naomi, or just Naomi. It's so obvious now. That's where they got to at. Naomi was indeed the attacker. She admitted it. But here's my problem on this whole thing. This storyline was abandoned, and they came back to it. I thought she'd been concluded a while ago, but because Jade's injury, I guess, took longer than expected. And then the whole thing, Naomi as a heel, I'm not really sold on that just yet because Naomi's bubbly attitude. So that I'm not a fan of just yet. Maybe if they shift it to where it could work, we'll see. But as of right now, I would say that's definitely a no. I don't see that. I don't see how that could work.
You know what's gonna happen? No. Words? No. You just made the list.
Now, the whole thing with Naomi, Bianca Belair, and everything else, the whole thing with that, Bianca clearly had nothing to do with it. Liv Morgan had nothing to do with it. We knew it wasn't Liv Morgan. I know Liv Morgan went on social media saying Bianca Belair owes her an apology. And she does, because Liv Morgan had nothing to do with it. But the whole thing about it is, I'm not, since Naomi is the attacker, we know that. We know that's the case. Thing about my problem with that is, Naomi cannot do all this alone. She did not just attack Jade on her own. She pushed her, but the thing about it is Naomi's going to need a heavy. She's going to need an alliance. And I spoke about this on Pink Square Circle. I spoke about this before. I said either Jade set it up herself or it was certain woman or women that did it. This is where she's going to link up with Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson, and she's going to need the allies. The allies going to have to be Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson. Jakara, of course, an ally too, but most of the weight will be held on Lash Legend. Because remember, Lash Legend is, we haven't seen her and Jakara Jackson for a while. We didn't see her for a while, so we got to keep that in mind. We still haven't seen them. And I don't think Naomi's going to continue to take all this attack take these hits from Jade Cargill, and then there's no backlash after. I don't see that happening. I don't see it happening. I'd be very, very surprised. But that's not the case. Laz and Jakara, they supposed to be main roster. I don't know. They're still bouncing them around. But the thing about it is they got to have a folk. Like I said, something has to be sold on that. Something has to be sold on that. And I don't see how, I just don't see how Naomi can do this on her own. She's going to need some help to make it believable that she's a heel. Because I cannot just buy that. I can't just buy that the whole that Naomi did all this on her own. I don't buy her as a heel on her own. I don't see that happening. I just don't. She's going, and Lash is the perfect person to accompany Naomi. Pretty much how Piper's doing with Chelsea Green right now. Let's be honest. Naomi could not pull all this alone. She's not strong enough to hold Jade down. Now she's going to be aligned with these women now. Well, she already been aligned with them. They wait for them to come out. So we definitely keep that in mind. And now it makes sense, Like I said, that's the only way that would make sense if that were to be like that. But yeah, I don't see how Naomi can do this on her own. I'm not buying that whole story. I'm not buying it. Because we have to remember when it come down to Lash is just like Jade Cargill. They got the same build. Just Lash is better wrestling than Jade. Because she started NXT on developmental PC and everything. So the thing about it is that's the only way that will work. And we have to remember too, and it's been stated before, I spoke about this before. We gotta remember why Lash Legend, remember why she's a perfect person to be added to the story of part of the whole attack with Jade Cargill. We gotta remember one thing people have forgotten already. Lash Legend is the one who replaced Jade Cargill in the Women's United States tournament. It was really supposed to be Jade Cargill in the spot and ended up being Lash Legend after the attack. So these three being together makes more sense. It puts Naomi over as a heel. Lash looks like the big, her bodyguard pretty much. And she could take care of Jade, because they're more likely going to have a Naomi versus Jade Cargill at WrestleMania 41. Expect the finish to that match is Jay's not about to just defeat Naomi like that. This is where we'll see the first introduction of Lash Legend, possibly in Jakara. They will cause Jade the match and give Naomi the win. But that's how I would do it. That's how I would put Naomi as a heel. That's the only way it'll be sold. Naomi by herself, no way. It's not going to happen. You can't tell me that Naomi as a heel on her own attacking Jay will work. Because if you tell me that, my answer will always be
No.
It's going to have to be this way. But that's one thing I don't like. Hopefully they go this direction. And they already shifted toward that direction. They already got that in mind. But that's one thing I did not like. Go to another part I didn't like. I'm not a big fan of this whole Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. I'm not a big fan of that. I know they're supposed to have a match at WrestleMania. I'm not a big fan of it. It seems kind of bland, boring. I mean, I don't like where this is going. This is my opinion. I would say when it comes to WrestleMania 41, I would say that this would be one of my least favorite feuds in matches to see. Maybe they'll shock us all going a great performance at WrestleMania 41. But as far as the feud goes, as of right now, I'm not buying it and I'm not sold on it at all. It's trash.
You know what's gonna happen? No. Words? You just made the list.
So that I'm not a fan of. And that's the whole what went wrong with Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry, Friday Night SmackDown. Now, the whole thing wrong with SmackDown. Now we're gonna go to what went right with SmackDown. Let's go over what went right. Because there's some things that did go right. One thing I say I do like about what went right with SmackDown as far as that goes. I am a fan of this. I like that Alba Fire came back as an ally Chelsea Green, because now that she's a singles competitor, she's not a tag team no more. We needed something for her to do, or WWE was going to eventually release her too. So this whole thing, her being with Chelsea, I'm sold on it. I like this. She could be a good ally to Chelsea, because what's going to happen, the reason Alba Fire I think is placed now with Chelsea Green, we are eventually going to see Piper Niven. We saw throughout the night, Piper Niven had the match with Tiffany Stratton. She lost, and Chelsea immediately grabbed a very exhausted Piper to accompany her to her street fight. And Piper was tired. Chelsea was like, I need you. So this showing that Piper is being mistreated by Chelsea, and this will lead to Piper turning on Chelsea. So with that being said, Chelsea's going to need a new ally, someone to hold her down. This is where Alba Fire come in. Similar to the whole Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. Remember, Candice LeRae was first stepped in to be an ally to Nia Jax, and Tiffany was starting to be left out in the cold, mistreated. They're running that same template with Chelsea Green and Piper. Piper is being mistreated. She's going to be slowly shifted out, and Candice LeRae is where Alba Fire is to Nia Jax, which is Chelsea Green, who was the champion. Pay attention, guys. This is the same thing. But I do like Alba Fire. They give her storyline to do. So this is interesting. And expect a Chelsea Green and Piper Niven feud in the future. Now that she's done with Michin, that's gonna be the one who's eventually gonna take the title off of Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. But this is a plus for me.
Yeet.
So this is one thing I did enjoy on Friday Night SmackDown. Another thing I enjoyed, LA Knight regaining the United States Championship. I like it. Now, his first United States Championship run, was not a big fan of it. You know, he won it so late and then defeated Logan Paul. Now that he defeated Shinsuke Nakamura, and more name of value and prestige, who's held the United States Championship before. I'm talking about Shinsuke previous. I think that was his third United States Championship run. This can make LA Knight Championship run more interesting. Expect him to have a feud with Jacob Fatu, who will eventually take the belt off LA Knight. Now, LA Knight could be a transitional champion this time, but this was a good win for LA Knight in his career. So this is a plus for me.
Yeet.
So this was very, very good of how they're doing this right now. Very good of how this whole thing is out. And like I said, this is the whole thing of SmackDown, guys. So we went over, we went over a lot here, actually. Went over quite a bit. We're going to cover some current news in a second, but a lot of stuff was covered here. And a lot of good moments on SmackDown. Very good episode. Well, we got to shift gears. We're going to move on to current news. So let's get that going. We're going to see how that turned out. But let's go over the first one. If you guys haven't heard, as announced, Lex Luger, former world champion, he will be inducted to the 2025 Hall of Fame, which was announced by Cody Rhodes. He came up there during a session he had with Diamond Dallas Page. But this is good. I'm glad that he's finally in there. And I just covered him on Toxic Ring Scandal, the whole how he could start walking, he could stand. Very, very good for Lex Luger. Well deserved. I know he's very excited about it. It's been a long time coming. I know under the old regime, we would never imagine that to happen. But things have changed with the new regime. Triple H being over Hall of Fame. He will be in the Hall of Fame, not just himself. It'll be Lex Luger, Triple H, Michelle McCool. That'll be the 2025 Hall of Fame class. So we got some good names there already. So we talk about WrestleMania weekend so much, about night 1, night 2 in Las Vegas, all the matches, all the feuds. We got Hall of Fame as well, and that's going to be amazing to see as well. So definitely a good one. I can't wait to see him stand up and everything. This is going to be good, though. Once again, congratulations to Lex Express. He is now a WWE Hall of Famer. Now let's move on to more current news. This is actually buzzing around right now, and we're going to talk about it. All right, we are talking about, it's been some smoke going on. If you guys haven't heard, there's some beef going around in the locker room, women's locker room, that is. And we got Jade Cargill, Shayna Baszler have beef. And this beef's so crazy, I got to switch it up on how the sound is. This is crazy music. This is definitely some toxic reign scandal type of thing. So let's get there. Let's talk about it. Now, reports said that Jade Cargill and Shayna Baszler nearly come to blows backstage prior to WWE hiatus. Let's see what the news is about regarding this whole thing. Wrestling Observer reported a situation that took place with Shayna Baszler and Jade Cargill last year that led to Cargill getting heat. What kind of heat is this about? Fightful had asked WWE talent about the incident shortly after Jade Cargill was read on TV, but those in the locker room had been quiet. Oh man, they've been quiet. I wonder what's going on with that. Okay, let's move on. But since then, it was claimed Cargill took issue with something that had unfolded. In the word around the locker room, that Cargill has said something to the effect that Baszler needs to learn how to work. Whoa, and whoa. Are you talking about Shayna Baszler, the former NXT Women's Champion? Are you talking about Shayna Baszler, the Queen of Spades? What you mean? Why would she say that she needs to work? That's crazy though. I don't know. I gotta dive more into this story here. I gotta see what's going on here. This is crazy that they're saying that. Wow. This is why this is going on. Let's continue on, because Shayna Baszler's not known for being someone that's rough around the edges, or someone that's stiff. She's not known for being a stiff worker, you know. Well, let's continue on. Let's see what they're saying about this whole thing. It said we're told it stemmed from the match in Scotland where Jade tapped out that wasn't supposed to be the finish in the match. Match in Scotland. Are they talking about this match right here? Must be this match. Clash at the Castle, if you guys remember. This is when Bianca and Jade were women's tag team champions. They defended a triple threat against Unholy Union, Alba Fire, and Isla Dawn, and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. If you guys remember that, this is what they're referring to. But let's see what else more news says about this here. Upon returning, man, this is not good. It says upon return to WWE, the situation much of locker rooms taking Cargill's promo video that says she was demanding respect and being surrounded by wolves in the shape of the women all around her. At least one talent locker room mentioned that this was taken personally by a number of talent as they kept the issue between she and Baszler quiet. I think they're talking about this promo that was on Jade Cargill's X social media page last week, if you guys remember.
There are wolves in the shape of women all around me. I can see the way they look into my eyes. There are wolves in the shape of women all around me. I can see the way they look into my eyes. I am not them, and they are not me. And I weathered every storm that was meant to break me. You can't help but to talk about me. I saw the look in your eyes as soon as I walked in the door, mapping out how to send me to my demise. My presence makes you question yourself. I've let others block my destiny for legacy. People hiding their insecurities behind fake smiles and hugs, trying to knock me for simply being me. Looking like God carved me out of marble, they wanted me to hide that I'm blessed. They demanded proof I belong, as if my scars weren't enough. Losing my mother while being a mother, carrying the weight of it all while still thriving. You don't have to like me, but you will respect me. I'm here because I've earned it. Every scar, every loss, every step. I will not shrink myself for anyone. Don't mistake my grace for weakness. I've played by the rules long enough. Now is time for mine. I am one of one. I am that bitch.
So that was Jade Cargill's promo that she did on her page. So basically, Shayna Baszler is taking offense to that. Now, if you guys remember the finish of the match that they mentioned, that was not supposed to be happen. That was not scripted. They're talking about this part of the match, and it did seem like Shayna Baszler really did tap the woman out for real.
I don't know what Jade's. Did Jade just tap out?
So, ever since then, back at Clash at the Castle 2024, it's been smoke ever since then between these two women, Jade and Shayna. And also, not just that though, it started really took with these X messages. But let's talk about the messages on X. It says here, Shayna Baszler said ropes issue, but Zoe Stark nails 3 perfect springboards, MVP status. Jade Cargill responded to that. She said, "I'm sorry that no one came to see you two. I clapped inside though. I was hoping that would help you, you little pygmy." Ooh, that was crazy. I didn't even know that they had some fire on that. This is crazy though. So it seemed like to me, now for those who don't remember, if you don't remember, what Shayna Baszler was talking about. What they was talking about was that this has had resurfaced. They're talking about the whole Jade Cargill. We know that when she had a match, you know, like I said, when Jade and Bianca teamed together, we know that Bianca will, you know, hold down most of the load. Jade start in the beginning, Bianca get the middle, and Jade Cargill gets the hot tag in the match. It's been known to do that. However, this particular match at Clash at the Castle, if you guys remember, Jade Cargill, when she came off the rope for the hot tag, she slipped. And that's what Shayna Baszler alluded to. So honestly, Shayna Baszler kicked it off, sound like to me, and Jade Cargill just responded. And then, of course, that's where the whole tap out happened with Jade being tapping out for real, and then Jade responded with the message. But the thing about it is, with these women, we gotta ask, did Shayna legit try to take Jade out? Gotta ask ourselves that question. And it seemed like she was. And I like Shayna too, but we gotta call a spade here. She did try to take her out. And this was during this tag team feud at Clash at the Castle. Or is Jade Cargill rubbing people the wrong way? Should she not have responded to what Shayna said, kept it quiet, ignored it, Did she have to respond on X? Or is Shayna jealous that Jade Cargill's getting more popularity and more notoriety in wrestling than she is? Shayna's a bad one. We know the girl can go in the ring. But you guys let me know what you think on that. Me personally, Shayna started it, and I like Shayna. I'm calling it down the middle. Shayna, you started this nonsense. The Jay didn't say nothing to you. And then you made fun of her with the rope. Jay could have slipped and hurt herself, had a bad injury. We know Jade is still great in the ring compared to Shayna. She's still new. So, yes, she's going to make mistakes. Now, should she got pushed to the main roster as fast as she did? No, she should have been on NXT, develop her skill. But can't change that. She's on main roster now. And yes, she was one half of the Women's Tag Team Championships on 2 separate occasions with Bianca Belair. But yeah, Shayna got smoke for Jade Cargill. And that's why Jay responded with that. We thought when she played that video that this was about the whole storyline with who attacked her. I'm pretty sure it's about that too, but who attacked her and all that. But it's not just about that. It was alluding to Shayna Baszler with these tweets back sometime last year. So this is crazy though. But yeah, that was current news, and that was some toxic locker room news. But we are going to shift gears off that. Let's slow it down a little bit. And we're going to get to the bonus round very, very soon. So with the bonus round coming up, we are going to talk about Cody and Roman. We're going to talk about Cody and Roman, the whole how Roman Reigns is pretty much going to be the number one babyface in the company. So give me a couple moments. We'll get that started. All right, guys, we're at the bonus round. We're going to talk about how Roman Reigns is going to be the number one babyface in the company. We are talking about the tribal chief, the OTC, the YTC, whatever you call Roman Reigns now, whatever name he wants to go by. But I believe that Roman Reigns will be the top babyface in WWE. Now, Roman Reigns, him and Cody Rhodes, I'm going to talk more about this as well. But the thing about it is Roman Reigns has not been talked about enough. He hasn't. And Roman's going to be the top dude in the company as a babyface. He's going to be the one to, when it's all said and done with Cody, the whole Cena, Rock, everything. This whole story going on right now that we see that's formed right now. It has to be one guy to save the day. We have to be one savior to make sure it all goes away, and it's going to be the tribal chief. The reason I say that because Roman, he's been on a whole nother level. You know, this man's been on a whole nother level for years now. We know that. Roman Reigns, his whole career has changed in the past several years, and it has for the better. From days him being big dog to now, you know, being the tribal chief. He even said in a recent interview, he said that the whole big dog is done. He said, I don't know who that guy is anymore. And we know that's true because he don't want to be associated with that character anymore. Ever since then, he is really the tribal chief. And I gotta give him his props. He has a point. No one likes the big dog or the guy. They don't want to hear that anymore. And we gotta remember too with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, we gotta put some respect on his name. During this man's legendary run, he got nothing but clout after clout being champion. This man was the most dominant heel for most of 2020, for 2020 and 2023 years. He started to fall off in 2023, but for the most part, he was a dominant champion. Most dominant heel champion, I would say. But he's done his thing. And I will not take that away from Roman. I can't take that away from Roman. Roman deserves all the recognition he does. Because I know he gets a lot of slack about being a part-time champion. But he didn't start his run off that way later on. Now, since he had this whole dominant run, it's time for Roman to be a good baby face. And he had the same aura and the same crowd reaction since he returned at SummerSlam 2024. He will be the whole savior to this whole story because we know this story with Rock is forming. We know this story is forming right now. Rock, Cena, and they got Travis Scott adding storyline. Dangerous right now. And they only going to get better, add more people to the whole saga. They're only going to add more people. Rock has told us that already, if you guys don't remember. He already mentioned that to us. It's already in there. But it's boiling. And it's going to have to take a dominant individual to stop it. It's going to have to take a dominant person to stop it. A very strong, dominant person to stop it. Not just anybody. Roman will have to be the one. It's going to have to be the tribal chief, no other. Because now we got Cena as a heel. You know, Cody is still a babyface. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But we got to remember here, it's not always going to be just Cena and Rock and Travis. They will add more to this mix. More will be added. Trust me, they're not going to stop here. Rock is trying to make sure he has the most dominant force. And actually, Goodbread Wrestling talked about it. Travis Scott will be another part of that. Jey Uso will be a part of this whole thing with Rock Cena because remember, he's hanging around with Travis Scott. He's a link to Travis Scott. Since Travis Scott is already linked to Cena and Rock, the whole talk with Travis would get to Jey, and Jey will fold over after winning the World Heavyweight Championship from Gunther. So expect Jey Uso to join his faction. Like I said, shout out to Goodbread Wrestling. He brought this to light, and he has a point. But I would say, too, since Jey will be more likely, I can see him being added to this team. Roman will have to stop it. Roman will have to shut it down. Because think about it is, Rock was scouting. And Rock is smart. He scouted the whole time. Because he was trying to figure out who the guy's going to be. And this is how Rock scouted. This is how Rock scouted the whole time. Now, this is where I'm going to kick in. If you guys remember, we had Bad Blood 2024. Now, this all started originally, before this match was even official, Roman and Cody, who do not like each other, they had agreed to work together on this match to take down Solo and Jacob Fatu's part of the New Bloodline. Cody had issue with the New Bloodline. Roman had an issue with the New Bloodline. Two former enemies are now unlikely partners, and they have a common enemy in the Bloodline. So with that going on, they did make this official. And the thing about it is Cody and Roman won. They won the match. They won. They won the match and everything. They defeated Solo and Jacob. But if you guys remember, a little caveat, who showed up at the end of Bad Blood? The Rock did. And he put up all these fingers. It started with Bad Blood. He started actually late last year, as Good Word Wrestling stated. But he really made it prominent that we can remember in our eyes when he put up the 3 and then he put that down. Now, when he did the 2, that was for the John Cena heel turn. We know that because that's what alluded to the whole thing here. So Rock's been scouting. And the reason I say Rock scouted, he was trying to see will Roman Reigns be the guy to join him and be his champion. But once he saw Roman with Cody, he knew there's a chance that, hey, this is not going to work. If he's working with Cody, it's not going to work. And he already tried to recruit Cody, which he knew a possibility that wouldn't work either. So that's how he went to Cena. But now we're going to see that since Rock knows that Roman or Cody won't work, he went to Cena. He'll get Jey Uso. He'll have that going. Now, the thing about it is, this is where Cody and Roman, they will be allies. They will be allies. And we saw a preview of this at Bad Blood. They ain't just team up for no reason. Yes, they both had common enemy, but these two working together, it makes sense why these two work together, because they're gonna be allies again. I can see that, but it will only be for a short period of time. It won't be the longest time ever, but they will be the top 2 babyface in the company. Cody, it will be Cody and Roman for a while. I definitely see that happening. So keep that in mind. It will be those two. I can see that happening for a good minute. But I could see these two, since they did team up at Bad Blood, I can see that. I can see that going on. Now, thing about it is, it ain't gonna be a long time, because eventually, Cody will go to the dark side. He will turn heel, because Cody's gonna get tired of getting beat up, and he's gonna have to switch over. It's gonna have to come to that. It's gonna have to come to that, and we're gonna see that. So I do see that happening at some given point. We don't know exactly when, but it will happen. But before then, we're gonna have Cody and Roman as the top 2 babyface in the company. Because think about it, Cody Rhodes is still one of the top merchandise sellers. So is Roman Reigns. So we can't forget that either. And the thing about it is, I never thought I would see this again. We saw something like this similar back in the day called Attitude Era. Maybe you don't agree with me on this one, but I'm saying it. I will say right now that maybe, as far as popularity and merchandise selling going, all of that, Cody and Roman will be similar to Rock and Austin as baby faces. Remember, Rock and Austin during Attitude Era both were top baby faces. I know people want to say Stone Cold was an anti-hero, but he was not a heel. He still was cheered on by the fans as an anti-hero. He was a different type of baby face. He was the alternate babyface, Rock babyface. That's how Cody and Roman is going to eventually be. But that's before Stone Cold turned heel. And that's how I see the whole thing with Cody and Roman. I see a very, very similar pattern with these two. But before Cody does turn heel, him and Roman is pretty similar neck and neck. Remember, for WWE 2K25, they're both rated 96. They're both neck and neck. Cody's on the same level as Roman, except Cody, of course, Cody's higher because he has the title right now. But that's how these two are going to be. They're going to be allied. They're going to have to work together again, not because they want to, because they have to take down a common enemy. So that's how we'll see it go down. But Cody will turn heel, like I said, and it's going to eventually have to be Roman Reigns being a babyface in this whole situation. It's going to have to be Roman Reigns, the OTC. But that's how it's going to happen now. But Cody will flip. He'll turn on Roman, actually, just like Rock turn on Stone Cold turn on Rock. And then he'll join Rock and Cena, whoever. He will join that. I can see that happening because people want Cody to turn heel at some point anyway, just not right now, for that matter. Right now, it's not the best scenario, but I do see that going on. I'm not bugging at all on this one. I'm standing by this. Cody would turn. Because he's gonna get tired of losing. Especially, I see him losing that title at WrestleMania. But the thing about it is, you need that one guy to hold it down. And when Cody does eventually turn heel, we don't know exactly when, but he'll do it at some point. You need one guy that's standing tall above, head and shoulders ahead of everybody else. And that's going to be Roman. Now, the thing about Roman is, no, Roman's not going to be a champion right away, but he will be standing tall. And he's going to be the guy in the company that everybody look upon as the number one babyface. Because they said when Roman Reigns came back at SummerSlam, he was slated for a big, huge babyface run. And I think that's what they're alluding to with this right here. So I can definitely see that happening with Roman Reigns. It makes sense why he would be a top babyface. Perfect sense. But other than that, though, guys, that's all I have for why Roman Reigns will be the number one babyface in the company, why the OTC will be standing tall, and he'll be the one to shut it down. You guys let me know what you think, if you agree or disagree on the whole thing. We covered a lot today, actually. We covered the SmackDown LA Knight winning the United States Championship in the Thrill main event. We covered the show, a lot of current news, locker room drama, toxic locker room drama, and of course, we're talking about this. And of course, let's move on to Hall of Fame. Check out the content here at Red Carpet Rain. Until then, guys, you already know what it is. It's OUT.
Something happened this weekend, and I've been struggling with it since I retired. But this weekend gave me closure.
Wow.
It really did. Like, it was fun. Obviously, it was fun. I mean, you can't, doing this for as long as I have and